somewhere beyond the noise of the day, beyond the hours you have carried and the small worries you have folded into your chest, there is a city of pale stone rising above the sea. Its towers catch the last light of evening, and the wind moves slow through olive trees that have stood for longer than memory. Close your eyes now. Let your breath grow soft and unhurried. Let the weight of everything you held today settle gently into the dark, like sand drifting down through still water. Tonight, we go to Troy, to a princess with starlight in her name and sorrow waiting just beyond the edge of her sight. This is the tale of Cassandra, the prophet no one believed, and her story is one of the oldest aches the world has ever known, the ache of seeing clearly in a place where no one will listen. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out. And let the sea, wind carry you to the walls of a doomed city, where a girl once walked among temples and learned, too late, what it meant to hold a truth alone. Troy was beautiful in those days. Its walls were said to have been raised by gods themselves, their stones fitted so finely that no blade could find a seam between them. Within those walls, the palace of King Priam rose in tiers of golden sandstone, its courtyards filled with fountains that whispered through the long afternoons. Doves nested in the high colonnades, and the scent of cypress drifted from the hills above the city. Priam had many children, and among them was Cassandra, his daughter by Queen Hecuba. From her earliest years, she seemed touched by something quieter than ordinary breath, something attentive. She would stand at the edge of conversations and listen as though hearing two voices at once, the one being spoken and another, fainter, beneath it. She was loved, and she was lovely, and yet, even as a child, she carried a stillness that the others did not. Her brothers tumbled through the courtyards and laughed beneath the plane trees, while Cassandra walked the long marble corridors with her eyes lifted, as if waiting for someone to step out from behind the light. It was the temple of Apollo that drew her first. She was perhaps 14 when she began to climb the steps to that high place above the city, where the great golden statue of the bright god looked out across the Aegean. The priestesses there moved in soft white robes, and their voices, when they spoke, fell into rhythms older than the city itself. Cassandra learned their hymns. She learned the gestures of offering, the proper way to braid laurel into garlands, the names of the small flames that burned at the altar's foot, and she fell in love, not with a person, but with the quiet itself, the hush of incense rising, the cool of the stone floor beneath her feet at dawn, the feeling that within these walls, the world made a different kind of sense. She vowed her devotion to Apollo, and for a long while, the god seemed pleased. The temple flourished beneath her care. Pilgrims spoke of the princess who served at the altar with such gentleness, and on certain mornings, when she knelt in the first light, she felt something turn toward her, the way the sun turns toward the open face of a flower. He came to her one evening when the temple was empty and the sky beyond the columns was the color of pomegranate flesh. She was alone, lighting the small lamps along the inner wall, when she felt the air grow warm and golden around her. She turned, and Apollo stood before her, not as the statue, but as a young man with hair like burnished bronze and eyes that held the slow heat of a summer noon. He spoke her name, and his voice was like music played at a great distance, both close and impossibly far. He told her she had pleased him. He told her he had watched her devotion, her quietness, the way she moved through the temple as though it were her own true country. And then he offered her a gift, the gift of prophecy, the gift of seeing what was to come. He would lay it upon her, he said, like a crown of light, and in return, He asked for one thing, a single kiss, a single moment of acceptance, a sealing of the gift between God and chosen one. She hesitated. Perhaps she felt the weight of what was being asked. Perhaps she had already begun, even then, to glimpse the shape of what such a bargain might cost. She was very young, and the god was very beautiful, and the temple was very quiet. And in that quietness, she did what few mortals had ever dared to do. She refused him. She told him gently, with the care of someone who knew she was speaking to a god, that she could not, that her vow was to service, not to bargain, that she had not understood the gift to come with such a price. Apollo did not strike her. He did not rage. He smiled, and that smile was worse than any rage. For in that moment she felt the gift settle upon her anyway, cold now, where it had been warm. He had already given it. The vision was already inside her, blooming behind her eyes like a second sun. And because she had refused him, he leaned close and breathed once across her mouth, soft as a sigh. And he laid his curse over the gift like a shroud over a body. She would see everything. The future would unfold before her in clear, unflinching detail. She would know what was coming before it came. But no one would believe her. Not her father, not her mother, not her brothers, not the council, not the priests, not the strangers in the street. She would speak the truth, and her words would fall from her like stones into still water, sinking without echo. They would call her mad. They would turn away. They would close their doors. The truth would live inside her, fully formed and fully clear. And it would never, in all her days, find a home in another's ear. This was Apollo's curse, and there is no curse in all the long memory of the Greek world that is crueler than this one. For Cassandra was not silenced. She was given a voice and then made invisible. She was given sight and then made alone. The years that followed were quiet on the surface, and beneath the surface, they were unbearable. She walked the streets of Troy as she had always walked them, and the city, with its markets and its festivals, its weddings and its small ordinary joys, continued on around her. But Cassandra now saw two cities at once, the one that was, and the one that would be. She saw the smoke before there were any flames. She saw the women of Troy walking in chains before the chains were ever forged. She saw her brother Hector lying still upon a bier, his beauty gone cold. And she saw it not as a dream, not as a fear, but as a thing already true, simply waiting for time to catch up with it. She tried to warn them. Of course she tried. She went to her father and spoke, and Priam looked at her with a father's tenderness and a king's tired patience. And he said, "Child, you are weary. You must rest." She went to her mother, and Hecuba touched her cheek and bid her drink warm wine and sleep. She went to her brothers, and they laughed, not unkindly, and returned to their training in the yard. And so she learned the shape of the curse. It was not that they could not hear her. It was that they heard her and felt nothing. Her words touched their ears and slid away like rain from polished marble. There was no purchase, no foothold. She could weep, and they would think her overtired. She could shout, and they would think her ill. She could speak in the calmest voice she possessed, with the clearest words, and still, the meaning would not pass through. And so she began, slowly, to grow quiet, to carry her visions like a candle she could not share, to walk through Troy with full knowledge of its ending and pretend, for the sake of those she loved, that she did not know. There is a particular loneliness in this. the loneliness of standing in a room full of people you love and understanding that you are alone. Cassandra knew this loneliness well, and she made of it a kind of soft companion. She walked the walls of Troy at dusk, and she spoke her prophecies aloud to the wind, because the wind at least did not turn away. Then the Prince Paris brought home the woman called Helen, and the Greek ships came. 1,000 of them, dark on the bright water, their sails like the wings of carrion birds. Cassandra had seen them long before they came. She had been seeing them for years, and when at last they appeared on the horizon, she felt only a great, slow grief that the future had finally arrived. The war lasted 10 years, 10 long, blood-soaked, beautiful, and terrible years. And through all of them, Cassandra walked the city she loved and watched its ending unfold one slow day at a time. She saw Hector fall, and she had told them, and they had not believed. She saw the funerals, and she had told them, and they had not believed. And then, at last, the wooden horse came, vast and silent, left at the gates like a gift. The Trojans gathered around it, marveling, and Cassandra ran to them. She ran through the crowd, and she pointed at the horse, and she said, "There are men inside. Do not bring it in. Do not open the gates. Do not, do not, do not." And they looked at her, and they smiled the way one smiles at a sad and familiar child, and they brought the horse inside the walls. And that night, the city burned. She did not run when the killing began. She walked as she had always walked, with her eyes lifted, through corridors filled with smoke. She found her way to the temple of Athena and wrapped her arms around the wooden image of the goddess. And there, in that sacred place, the men of the Greek army found her. She was taken from the altar. She was taken from Troy. And eventually, she was taken across the sea to a kingdom called Mycenae as the prize of a king named Agamemnon. She saw her death there, as she had seen everything. She saw the queen waiting with a knife, and she saw the bath that would not be a bath, and she saw the doors closing behind her, and she went anyway, because by then she had learned that seeing changes nothing if no one will listen. She went into that house, and she met her end with the same quiet she had carried all her life, the quiet of one who had been right and right and right, and never once been hurt. And here, gentle one, the story softens. For though Cassandra's life ended in that distant hall, her name did not end with it. The poets remembered her. They wrote her into their songs, and the songs were carried out across the centuries on the breath of every reader who has ever felt unheard, every voice that has spoken a truth into a room that would not turn, every quiet person who has watched a thing unfold exactly as they feared it would, every soul that has carried clear sight through a foggy world. All of them are Cassandra's kin. She is not a warning. She is a companion. And if you have ever felt that ache, the ache of knowing and not being believed, then know also that you are not alone in the long history of the world. You are walking the same marble corridors that she walked, and somewhere, gently, she is walking beside you. So let her go now. Let Troy fade. Let the towers crumble softly back into the dark of legend. Let the doves return to their nests in the high colonnades, and let the temple grow quiet once again. The day is behind you. Your breath is slow. Your body is heavy and warm beneath the covers, and there is nothing more for you to do tonight. The truths you carry, whatever they are, will still be there tomorrow. But for now, let them rest. Let yourself rest. The wind off the Aegean is soft, and the stars above the old city are the same stars above your window. Close your eyes and let sleep come, and dream gently of pale stones and golden light, and a princess walking the long corridors at evening, finally, at last, finally heard.